Established in the year 2019, the GT Cup Europe returns to the Algarve to commence its 2024 campaign. Coming off the back of the heroics in 2023, the championship-winning partnership of Jorge Cabezas and Ivan Velasco from last season has been severed, with Cabezas now siding with female debutante Annie Frosio and Velasco now partnering Luca Ludwig. The story of qualifying, however, lies in the hands of both Federico Al-Rifai, who took pole after debuting off the back of a Saudi Arabian F4 championship win, and fellow young debutant Bogdan Duma coming in on his racing debut, joining him on the front row of the grid off the back of a rallying career. But coming here to Portimao, we're going to be witnessing certainly a stellar fight, a roller coaster of circuits, or certainly a roller coaster of a circuit, 4.653 kilometers, that's 2.891 miles with 15 corners, a capacity of 100,000, various different challenging sections here, and a lot of risk on the line for some of the drivers, but an important start to the campaign, no less. A very youthful front row of the grid. Your commentators, George Morgan, joining me in the commentary box, as always, Chris Stevens. Chris, we're back, we're racing. It's GT Cup Open, I should say, baby.
Yeah, great battles once again between the Porsches and Ferraris are expected. The Porsche 911 GT3 Cup car and the Ferrari 488 Challenge Evo. We've got 14 of the Porsches, 8 of the Ferraris. 4 of the Porsches occupy the top, well, actually 5, I should say, Porsches occupy the top 5 on the grid. And yeah, what a performance. Federico Al-Rifai on his GT racing debut, putting it on pole position, coming from the Saudi Arabian F4 Championship, as you mentioned there, George, but also the AM pole sitter right alongside him, Bogdan Duma, off the back of his Porsche Sprint Challenge Benelux GT4 AM victory with Q1 last year in the championship. Pretty amazing stuff, but we've still got so many great contenders. Alex Ryman starting from 3rd position. He was a very quick driver at times last year with his Carrera Cup experience. Stinas Longin in the number 11 car. That's a new entry for this year alongside Nicolas Salens. They won the GT2 European Series Championship a couple of years ago. Xander Prisbalak no longer with Laurent van der Velde, who they won the AM Championship together. He's now with Lars Zanen in the Pro-Am category there as well. And Luca Ludwig, double duties, GT Open and GT Cup throughout the season. And also partnering Ivan Velasco, the reigning overall champion in GT Cup. And Murtal have made it very clear this is the entry that is going to defend the driver's title.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way. They've got a very strong partnership between Ludwig and Velasco, and we'll wait and see. Velasco looked full of beans when stepping into the car earlier on. I met him in the paddock, and he's very excited to take this on. Leandro Martins lines up onto the grid as well, and looking forward to yet another season getting off the ground, no less. And we're looking across this grid with this fantastic drone cam that we have panning across this long straight here at Portimao. One of the longest straights you'll see on the calendar. Not quite as long as Barcelona, but still nonetheless tees up a fantastic run heading in towards turn 1. Let's take you through the starting grid. On pole position, it's Federico Al-Rifai, alongside him Bogdan Duma, also in the Porsche. Porsche's definitely looking strong off the back of the wet weather we had this morning. Alex Ryman on the 2nd row in 3rd, Steins Longin in 4th. Further back in P5, we have Xander Prisbalak, the AM champion, alongside him Luca Ludwig, chasing overall success this season with Ivan Velasco in the car with him. P5, or should I say P7, I should say, Johannes Zelger, alongside him P8, Leandro Martins, also in the Porsches. Porsches dominating, as I said earlier on today, with Florentin Sescu in 9th spot. Jorge Cabezas marks his return after winning the championship last season. And further down, we have Lorenzo Fernandinho Innocenti, who represents Rosso Corsa Racing. Davide Scanaccio starts P12. P13, that goes to Fernando Navarrete Rodrigo, with P14 going to Laura van den Hengel, who moves straight from karting into this series. Evgeny Leonov off the back of last season. Remember, he had his own horrors after spinning coming through the final corners on the final lap. In 16th place is Arturo Melgar. 17th is Indrek Jaska, with Mark Speakerwas in 18th. 19th spot goes to Glauco Solieri, with Giuseppe Ghezzi joining him on 20th spot. And at the back of the grid, we have Laurent van der Velde, who was siding with Xander Prisbalak last season. Did not have the qualifying he probably would have envisioned, but still a lot of racing to be had. So you join us while the cars make their way around Portimao, the formation lap now in full swing. And it's all about trying to start your season off in the most positive way possible. But I tell you what, we're in a good place here, Chris, because we've got two young up-and-comers in Federico Al-Rafai and Bogdan Duma. Bogdan Duma, an unknown quantity, moving away from rallying and rallycross, coming into, GT racing for the first time, stepping into the Porsche. Saw a couple of press releases coming into the start of this new season, and he was very excited about taking part in this championship.
It's such a high level of competition, isn't it? Definitely a great way to get your GT career started. I mean, so many drivers that are coming into this championship with very little experience or no experience at all. Drivers like Annie Frozio, who probably embodies the spirit of this championship. Somebody who's passionate about racing, passionate about a brand, and wants to go racing, has the means to do so. And I think that's fantastic. And this is definitely a competitive grid. There are a lot of great young up-and-coming talents within this field as well, and no least three of them right up at the front of the field.
Yeah, Lorenzo Innocenti will be looking for a good start as well. Team Rosso Corsa starting from P11 on the grid as they now hurdle through turn 13. Just getting themselves set and ready to go. Obviously, track position is so important as they make their way down towards the line. Rolling start as per standard. Hear them now getting set. The whine, as you can hear from inside the cockpit, as now the cars come through towards the final couple of corners. Gulp corner at turn 15 is what will tee them up down this long straight. They'll be utilising that for full momentum, heading down the long straight in towards turn 1 over the various laps we have ahead of us. 50 minutes of racing action. Federico Al-Rafai, Bogdan Duma, that makes up your front row. Porsche dominant with Alex Ryman in behind. Steins Longin will be longing for a chance heading in towards turn 1, I'm sure. Xander Prisbalak will also be putting his best foot forward. Let's see if he can also double down on his performances from last season. Sit tight, everybody. This is going to be very, very special. The Algarve lies in wait. The fans as well in the grandstands watching on as we now await the Porsches to send it down towards turn 1, getting very tight and constrained, heading out to those final bends as they now steadily and surely make their way up towards the line for the very first time here at Portimao. All lights are red. They'll soon turn green, and very surely, as they head up towards the line now, cut the tension with a knife. When's Al-Rafai and Bogdan Duma going to put their foot to the floor as we put pedal to the metal, and it is go, 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 go. It's Federico Al-Rafai who leads the way. Bogdan Duma alongside him. Both of them got very similar starts. Look at the Ferrari, though, around the outside, of course, as they now power on through towards turn 1, and it is making its way through now. I'm just trying to peel and take a look at the number. I believe that is actually, as far as I can see, Luka Ludwig up at the front.
Yeah, huge moment for Steens Longin as well, bouncing over the curb at turn 2, but the power in that Ferrari has sent Luka Ludwig from 6th to 1st in one fell swoop. An astonishing start for the Mertel Motorsport Ferrari number 80 machine. Luka Ludwig showing them how it's done into turn 1. Federico Al-Rafai holding on in 2nd place. Alex Ryman in 3rd. Leandro Martins now in the AM class lead in 4th position overall, away from Bogdan Duma. I'm amazed that Steens Longin is still not only pointing in the right direction, but also got all 4 wheels pointing in the right direction as well after that huge moment at turn 2 as the Rosso Corsa car picks off. It looked like Johannes Stelger.
Yeah, all the Ferraris actually making places through the field. Lorenzo Fernandino Innocenti now up to 10th place as well. There's also a lot of movement for the back. Fernando Navarrete trying to make places. So we now see the cars now making their way up the hill. I got a chance to speak to Navarrete just coming into this race. He said, obviously, we know, we got a safety car out on track, and that's the reason. It's Mark Speaker-Was who is in the gravel, one part of the Mertel Motorsport Ferrari conglomerate, representing the AM class, now beached in the gravel, Chris.
It's a real shame for him. His return to the championship, we raced here in 2021 in the Porsches. And it was driving for Ferrari that got his sponsors back interested again, but not a great start to his campaign as he's in the gravel. Of course, what that has done is eradicated Luka Ludwig's 3.7 second lead that he managed to build up within just a couple of sectors over Federico Al-Rifai. And so we will slow it all back down again. So there's a couple of difficult starts as well. Florentin Cescu's fallen down the order as well aboard the R01 Racing Porsche. He's down in 20th position. Evgeny Leonov's made a bit of progress as well from 16th on the grid down to 13th. We're hoping for a bit more luck, won't he, this year?
Tricky start for Bogdan Duma, who's now down in 7th as well. Obviously, yeah. I think just got caught up heading through turn 1. Very easy to do. Ludwig had a really electrifying start. Now, when I spoke to Navarrete earlier on, he alluded to the fact that obviously in corners alone, the Porsche is OP, but it's exacerbated by the fact that we had the rainfall that we had, and there is the Romanian car, Florentin Cescu, hence the reason why he tailed down the field and now sits second to last. We'll have to see whether they can get that car going again, but it's not looking positive as we're seeing it from those pictures.
Another driver who's joined us from the rallying scene. Let's take a look at what happened and watch the 11 car as well when it gets to turn 2 in the middle of the picture there, the black and white machine on the right-hand side. Luca Ludwig, so much power in that Ferrari. And it was a hop over the curb as well for Alex Ryman, but it's at turn 2. So we had contact.
Wow.
He didn't even touch the curb at all. It jumped in the grass. I assumed that it had managed to hit the curb, and that's what launched it. And he went properly, all 4 wheels in the air. And yeah, I'm surprised that car is still running. We might get a good view of it here from the Rosso Corsa. Lorenzo Innocenti, getting right up to the back of the Porsche in front. The 79 of Johannes Zelger, and exit stage right for Stina's long in.
That's one line you can take, coming through turns 1 and turns 2. But as we're now seeing it, a phenomenal start from Luca Ludwig, getting the launch that he needed. And there's a collision. So that was Mark Speakerwas going into the gravel after contact with Florentin Cescu. And then we saw Tincescu parked to the side as well. So in fact, both incidents were part of the same fracas, should we say, right at the start of the race.
I don't know if you speak Italian, George, but I couldn't quite make out what
I
the
can't
message...
translate for you, Chris. I do apologize.
The message going on at Metal Motorsport, but I mean, there's so much power in the Ferrari. It's a 3.9 litre V8 that produces 670 brake horsepower in that Ferrari against the 510 brake horsepower flat 6 in the Porsche. Now that may be 25 horsepower more than the previous generation 991 car, but it's still no match for the Ferrari down the straight. And as a result, it looks like Mark Speakerwas has managed to get going again. Whether he'll rejoin the race, that's a separate issue. But yeah, to balance those cars out, the Ferrari has significantly more weight on board of it, more downforce on the wings, as they're restricted in the angles they can run on the rear wing, for example. And it has narrower front tyres and a significantly higher ride height as well, so they can't have quite as much downforce. And the difference is some 27 millimeters as well, which doesn't sound like much, but it's fairly significant. So that's how we managed to have the Ferraris and the Porsches battling so well together, as they did so often last year, and it looks like we've got more of the same. But yeah, Luca Ludwig really utilising his car's performance characteristics there. Let's see if Federico can do anything once the safety car peels in.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. I mean, that is where the Ferrari is OP generally down the long straights. We did see Mark Speakerwas briefly get the car rolling again. It did come to a stop on the outside of the track once again. So I'm not sure whether he'll be able to continue, but we can tell you that the incident at turn 1 is under investigation. So obviously race control and the stewards will be looking at that, and we will let you know should we get any update as we make our way through the course of the race. But as we stand, it's Ludwig, Al-Rifai, Alex Ryman up into 3rd.
And the issue now is, because we're under safety car in the early stages of the race, if you've got your quick driver in for this stint, so if you've got the Pro in, if you're in a Pro-Am car, then you're losing out on time for them to be quick. And in the second half of the race, that's going to become a bit of an issue, as Mark Speakerwas He's well, he tried to get back, didn't he? But he has parked it up once again by the looks of it. Turn 4 is that potentially? Does it look like everything's pointing in the right direction on that car? Probably.
Not sure whether he's trying to find a piece of escape road where he can.
No, he's found one there. Look.
Yeah. So I think this could be a permanent park up. I think based on what we're seeing here, but yeah, very unfortunate for Mark Speakervos. We're still under safety car ruling right now, but yeah, crazy start, amazing start from Ludwig. Managing to get the getaway that he was looking for, managed to peel in behind the front runners and find some room, going around the outside, truly breathtaking. But further back, there have been some movers and shakers. Lorenzo Innocenti, who's now back down to 11th. Laura van den Hengel as well, back again this season after her debut campaign last season, coming off the back of her karting career, and now moving on up and tackling the GT Cup Europe at this point. Evgeny Leonov now 13th and looking to proceed onwards and upwards. Lauren van der Velde still working as well, trying to find places, now 17th. Still quite a lot of work to do for our AM champion from last season.
Just thinking about Leandro Martins, that huge moment at turn 2. I think last time he came to Portugal, he had a massive shunt as well in the GT Winter Series at the start of the race. This one wasn't quite as bad, but probably a little bit scarier, I'd have thought.
Yeah, no less. Currently leading the AM classification is Leandro Martins, with Bogdan Duma now sat in behind. Jorge Cabezas as well, trying to make places. Very important first stint for Jorge Cabezas, and it's important to know that Annie Frozio is, of course, learning from Jorge Cabezas too, taking her under his wing, and what better than to be tutored than by a current reigning champion from last season's campaign, and I'm sure that she'll take great stock in what Jorge instructs her with as well.
Well, she's a complete novice, and many bronze drivers that come to the GT Cup are like that. I mean, she made her racing debut at the 50th edition of the old-timer Grand Prix at the Nürburgring last year. It's one held by the Ferrari Club Racing Series. But beyond that, she's done a bit of hill climbing, some track days. She does own a 458 challenge privately, and has done track days with that. But in terms of actual racing, this is very much her competition debut season.
Yeah, it certainly is. Let's see what she can bring to the table. Obviously, her stint will come in when the driver change window opens up, and it'll be Jorge Cabezas who will bring it into the pits, and Annie will take over. Much like many of the other drivers that are taking part in this championship, we do have a few drivers that are flying solo through the course of this campaign. The likes of Stefano Zerbi, who isn't here today, but will be here at some point during the course of the championship. And Alex Ryman, Indrek Jaska, who are also part of the EST1 racing team. Of course, we alluded to Alex Ryman and how he was very effective last season in bringing big results to the EST1 racing team. 1 victory last season out of 5 races, and debuting in GT3 racing in 2023 as well, and managing to achieve a win at Paul Ricard. And here's a replay from the start.
Look, there was, I think it was Stina's Longin, or no, Alex Ryman just really like edging forward, braking. And this is the view that Luca Ludwig had on the way into turn 1, just opened up for him, and round the outside of like 3 cars at once at the apex. And then this is Stina's Longin going for a hop, skip, and a jump.
He might have got slightly checked, actually, I think, by a car on his inside. There was a slight little bit of contact, I think, coming through, and I think that's what sent him through.
Definitely with Ryman,
Yeah, Longin didn't really have much of another avenue to go to. But yeah, making his own line in order to remain in this race, but didn't really have much of a choice otherwise. 4th place, Longin at the moment, with Sander Prisbalak in behind. Leandro Martins, as I said, leading the AM contingent, with Bogdan Duma as well waiting in the wings. And the safety car is coming in this lap, so we will be back under racing conditions very shortly. Still 38 minutes and 15 to go, so plenty of action to be had as they now peel up through the incline rise out of turn 7 and through turns 8. But opportunities still aplenty for everyone in this field, Chris.
Yep, I mean, Luca Ludwig's going to have that power again down the straight, isn't he? So Federico will do well to stick to the back of his car and then and to try and pass it on track, he'll have to get inventive and utilize the performance characteristics of that Porsche against the Ferrari. Worth mentioning as well that the Pro-Am runners that are running solo, i.e. Alex Ryman, they will have to take a handicap in this race as well because they are running solo. Because if you're in a Pro-Am car, you effectively have an all-pro lineup, so you do have to take some handicap. But that's not something for the rest of the field. We really don't have to think about that until tomorrow.
No, we don't. And the cars, they're making their way through the final portion of this track, the final sector, as we now look to get back underway. We can obviously see that he's tuning in at this point. But yes, we're now watching them make their way down through towards turn 15. Once again, Luka Ludwig will be hoping for a decent restart so he can carry on in the same vein of form as he had at the very start of the race, as they now peel down the hill and head down towards this main straight. Al Rifai in second and Ryman in third, as we now put pedal to the metal for the second time in this race now. It's Ludwig, Al Rifai, Ryman, as well as Longin. We got Prisbalak as well further back, a little bit of side-by-side as well in the distance. I think that might be Cabeithas, in fact, who's making a move up that inside, has managed to successfully do it as well. So that's Bogdan Duma down to P8.
Yeah, again, the power of the Ferrari being used, and the Q1 track racing cars side by side. The 53 Xander Prisbalak trying to get up on the inside of Stinus Longin down at turn 3. But there was no way through there. The Rosso Corsa car went very wide on the exit at turn 4, just out of shot. And again, we're going to go side by side. Oh, Cabeithas with a big land on the inside. He's wiped out Ryman. Big mess at the hairpin.
Goodness me, the car park around Tora Vip has opened up around turn 5. Jorge Cabeithas, I think just whether it was a misjudgment of brake application, I'm not quite sure. It was a very aggressive line heading into turn 5. And unfortunately, a collection of cars, no doubt. I mean, whether we'll probably get a safety car, there's a good chance of it. There's Cabeithas. The car looks stagnant.
Yeah, so Longin's been collected up in that as well as the 79 Johannes Zelga. So that is the Tsunami Racing Team car on their first race in the championship. Wow. Yeah, big mess down there at the hairpin, and well, what on the face of it looks like a very costly mistake from our reigning overall champion, Jorge Cabeithas, as he was trying to make a move on, I think it was Leandro Martins. I have to see a replay, but that is one sorry-looking Ferrari 488 challenge, isn't it? And safety car has been redeployed. Well, you know the old saying that safety car breeds safety cars.
Well, it's a terrible shame. Of course, that is our current reigning champion. Safety car now out and about on track. Let's take a look at the replay. This is Cabeithas coming up the inside and just immediately launched right into the back of the, what looked to be the 47.
So he wipes out Ryman, and it was trying to pass Leandro Martin. Well, the initial move was anyway. And of course, because he's cut across the track, he's come out in front of Longin. And the 53 Xander Prisbalak gets caught up in that as well. But he does actually manage to, for the large part, avoid much of the fracas. And you're just going to see the yellow Ferrari is a missile. And isn't that it's very, very akin to what happened at Monza? I think that was Alex Ryman getting wiped out as well. He's been very unlucky these last couple of races.
He has been unlucky, and yeah, it's been a hard bitter pill to swallow. Unfortunately, Stein's Login also getting caught up in it too, and he's already had a fair few things to deal with at the very start of this race. So yes, and unfortunately for Annie Frosio, it means that it doesn't look like she's going to be getting a chance here in the driver change window as it opens up. You can now see the cars now taking this sort of shallower line coming through Tora Vip as the, I'm sure the on-track marshals will be looking to try and clear the car that currently sits. There's the rescue vehicle now. But yeah, some heartbreaking scenes. Mertal Motorsport have certainly had a tough start here. They've lost Mark Speakerwells, and now they've lost Jorge Cabeithas.
Yeah, the driver's getting ready here because the driver change window opens in 4.5 minutes. And now what we were saying during the first safety car, if you're the race leading number 80, you know, let's assume it's green till the end of the race, and that means all the green flag running time would have been done with the AM in the car, which is obviously less than ideal. Ivan Velasco is one of the fastest bronze drivers in the field, it must be said, but still you'd rather have this safety car time when your bronze driver is in the car, because pretty much Luka Ludwig, okay, yeah, he took the lead of the race, but since then, all he's really done is look at the back of the safety car.
And you've got to look at the likes of the Rosso Corsa team. So you've got Lorenzo Innocenti, who's now moved up to 6th place. And he's got Andrea Bellici stepping in for him as well, who is a very, very talented driver. And someone who, no doubt, in the second stint is going to be so daring when it comes to making the moves.
Yeah, so that's the opposite situation that the race-leading Myrtel car has now. So, you know, that Rosso Corsa car might be in 6th place at the moment, but they've got their bronze driver in at the moment. And when Andrea Bellici gets in the car, you would think that that car would make forward progress, but yeah.
And with the safety car, reduced gaps. Keeps them all bunched together.
Well, that's the benefit of having the safety car being up when your bronze driver is in, or you know, to try and bridge those gaps when you're in the car later in the race as well. So how many are we down to? We're down to 17 runners. Johannes Zelger now 17th and last, unfortunately. Not really belongs. And Stinus Longin in 16th position, just ahead of him. And of course, they were the two cars that were caught up in the turmoil at turn 5. So it's Luka Ludwig, Federico Al Rifai, and Leandro Martin's now the overall top 3. Martin's still the AM leader in the rack car at Porsche. And Sander Prisbak and Bogdan Duma. And now, unfortunately, this looks like Longin potentially retiring from the race.
Did see the sign saying time, so it looks like they're going to call time on the race by the looks of it. So yeah, yet another unfortunate loss, I would say at this point. Longin is going to be devastated. I mean, he had a really difficult start as it was. Obviously, he took that trip over the grass at the very start of the race, and unfortunately got caught up then at the moment from Jorge Cabezas coming down into Tora Vip. That's certainly going to sting, and there indeed is Steins Longin now jumping out of the car. Yeah, definite view of frustrations on the face of him, just being consoled as well by his teammate.
A big sigh, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When he got out of the car. Yeah, real shame for them. And of course, one of a chink in the armour of Q1 track racing, but then Myrtel have had a couple of issues themselves, and that was the big teams battle of last year, wasn't it? Q1 versus Myrtel. I dare say we're going to have a few extra teams entering that fight this year, so can't really be afford to be losing their quick cars like this.
Well, no, especially when you've got the likes of GDL, who have got decent cars that tend to be quite effective in this championship anyway. I mean, the history of this championship in recent years has been stemmed around the effectiveness of Q1 and GDL Racing, both of whom have been fighting at the front, more so probably Q1 after what we've seen in the past. But as we take a look at it on face value now, of course, we've got Rosso Corsa, who are also part of this. The safety car will be coming in this lap, folks. So despite the busy nature, did hear a squeal of tyres as well heading up through turns 13. So whether there's been another issue, no, I don't think so. Everything looks all in order as they now look to get themselves set and ready to go. They'll get themselves in order. It's all on Luka Ludwig to essentially manage the pace. He is the safety car at this point, leading the field. And Federico Al Rifai will be waiting to respond as soon as he puts his foot down, and he's not waiting around whatsoever. Foot to the floor as he now peels downhill, heading around turn 15, and the long straight will await once again as he then sends it down through towards the start-finish line. Yellow flags go away, we go green. It's pedal to the metal for the 3rd time in this race, and Luka Ludwig now peels away down in towards turn 1. More activity further back as we run on board with Lorenzo Innocenti utilising that Ferrari straight line speed as he looks to go around the outside, this time on Bogdan Duma, and I think he might have done. He's going to hang it. No, they're still there, wheel to wheel. Nothing separates them. Innocenti still though daring, defiant as they look to fight now over position P5 now, coming over turn 4 this time, and it's Lorenzo Innocenti who moves up ahead of the Porsche, heading down towards turn 5. Great move.
And Evgeny Leonov in the Volcano Motorsport Porsche trying to take advantage of that up on the inside here at turn 5, and Dumas going to have to leave him a lot of space. He'll have the wrong line into the next right-hander, will Leonov, but well, so far for Leonov, the luck's really been on his side because he's still running and a lot of his rivals aren't. And right round the outside went Leonov there, still having to go the long way round. If he manages to pull this off, this would be quite extraordinary. I think the track will eventually come to him with this next left-hander. And yes, Leonov now through into sixth position. That was a cracking bit of manoeuvring there. And now the 81 Myrtel car, Fernando Navarrete fancies a bit of the action as well.
Yeah, Fernando Navarrete, of course, racing with Myrtel last season. He's back here again and now looking to hunt down after Laura van den Hengel. But a great move from Eugenie Leonov, who now sprints onwards and upwards. He's got Lorenzo Innocenti in front of him here. Of course, Leonov will be taking it all the way. His only other partner that he's had while racing was Adam Christodoulou last season at Spa during the endurance race weekend. And of course, they won that race that weekend too.
That was only because he had to have a second driver because it was the endurance race. So yeah, he has been running solo for his tenure in GT Cup. Look how much, that's what I was about to say. Why is there such a big gap? It's because the driver change window is open. Straight into the pits has come Leandro Martins and Xander Prisbalak to the Racar and one of the Q1 cars coming in early.
They're not wasting any time at all now as they look to get the second driver strapped in. Lars Zanen, Xander Prisbalak, they're swapping over as well. A lot of movement further down here as we now see the battles start to erupt across the field. Arturo Melgar right in the midst of all this too. We've got Data Sveps as well further back with Lauren van der Velde in the mix as well. They're going to go wheel to wheel heading down through towards the next left-hander as they peel uphill. Once again, it's wheel to wheel between Porsche and Ferrari still. Truly a pleasure to watch as they now start to make their way up through towards Samsung now. And through the right-hander, and indeed, looks like he's going to try and hang on here, and that's Federico El Rafai, who's just lost that place, in fact, at the hands of, I believe it might have been Fernando Navarrete, in fact.
Alba Vasquez getting on board the number 83 Myrtel car. That is the all-women lineup in the AM category. Alba Vasquez and Laura van den Hengel. Alba Vasquez, the younger of the two, the 19-year-old from Spain, joining us from the Spanish endurance and Spanish touring car scene. And, yeah, great to see a lineup like that. That is also a lineup that is going to be supported by more women staff as well. They've got mechanics and one engineer on there as well.
Andrea Bellici now in the Rosso Corsa car, currently sits 10th place on an outlap, trying to chase down after Zanen for 9th. Velda then in 8th as well. We've got Alba further back, who was also in the pits. Navarrete now moves up to 4th with Van der Velde joining in tandem as they head through towards turn 1. Still Ludwig at the head of the field. Glyco Solieri and Zelga now move up to 7th and 8th. Indrek Jaska now up to 10th as now we see Nicholas van Dierendonk coming in with Bogdan Duma swapping out of the car, allowing van Dierendonk to step in.
Yep, Van Dierendonk, a stable of the Q1 team, was second in the AM Championship last year alongside Quentin Antonel. As a new teammate for him this year. Dumas getting the job done so far. Luca Ludwig continues to lead, and Federico El Rafai staying out there as long as possible. Car number 53 under investigation for crossing the white line at pit exit. That tends to be a fairly slam dunk, and it's one of the Q1 track racing cars. It's the Xander Prisbalak Lars Zanen car, so it could be a penalty coming their way. Evgeny Leonov still circulating up there in 3rd position, but got Fernando Navarrete very close company, and Laurent van der Velde and Antaro Melgar as well. So he's been hounded by Ferraris and Porsches in this battle for what is currently 3rd. Coming up to the corner where Leonov lost the win last year, where he spun while in a position where he was going to take the win. But he was 2nd on the road at that time, but there was a 5-second penalty for the Velasco Cabezas car ahead of him, which he was well within. But looks like everyone coming in now. 2.5 minutes left on the driver change, but our race leaders are in. Luca Ludwig about to hand over the car to Ivan Velasco, and El Rafai going to hand over to Matteo Lavisi.
Yeah, you can see now the pit crew going to work, and also the drivers making the necessary swaps. Matteo Lavisi stepping in for El Rafai, and they'll be looking to proceed onwards in hope of securing a decent result. An Italian GT Sprint, and also taking part in GT Cup AM back in the the days of 2023 last year. Junior karting, so relatively new to the scene as well, much like Al Rafai. So we're seeing also more swaps going on with Nathan Brauns and Lauren van der Velde swapping out of the cars and in the cars. As we now see as well activity down at Murtel with Libera stepping into Fernando Navarrete. Caught up with Libera as well down in the paddock, and he was very excited to step in too. So generally good feeling, a good vibe down at Murtel. I'd imagine though that's been disrupted slightly with the fact that they've lost 2 cars through the course of this race.
That's why you bring 6 of them.
Good theory.
Yes. And, 7 for Hockenheim, if to be believed. And potentially there's still some Super Trofeo interest as well, so we could have a third manufacturer joining us for the rest of the season. But this is on board with Ivan Velasco now aboard the number 80. Now let's see where he's come out. At the moment, there's nothing in front of him, but let's see when the timing updates, because we know that Velasco, one of the fastest drivers, fastest bronze drivers in the field of last year's. This is the Andrea Bellici Rosso Corsa car making up ground. So that was just past the 67 of Matteo Lavisi. So that's interesting. That could put Rosso Corsa suddenly into a podium position when this all shakes out. But we'll see once they come across the timing line. If I think anyone else has got a... the last 2 are coming in. Johannes Zolga and Glauco Solieri, the last 2 to make their stops. The driver change window is about to end, so this is the last lap they could have done. See Glauco Solieri, no driver change happening there because he is running solo aboard that number 12 machine. So just need to monitor the mandatory stationary time. And yeah, it does look like Velasco's been able to hang on to the lead. I think the Bellici going past Lavisi might have been an unlapping situation. But we've got 2 Murtel cars here going hammer and tongs, 84 versus 81, and Alvaro Libera getting up the inside on Stefano Bazzoni. Couldn't quite tell you what position that's for just yet, because they are not next to each other on the timing screen, but we'll find out shortly. But it's the Libera for now ahead.
Yep, certainly is heading down the hill now out of Galp, and they'll sprint down the long straight. The 2 Ferraris coming together. Libera now forming ahead of the Ferrari counterpart as they now stream down through towards turn 1 yet again. According to what we can see, Dieter Schweppes taking the fastest lap as well with a 1:46.878. After investigation, car 53, Lars Zanen, reprimand for crossing the white line at pit exit. So there we have it. The stewards have come down upon it. A reprimand in this case.
Yeah, he's got away with it. So no real penalty there. So it looks like it's Velasco who will come out in the lead, and then the Rakkar Porsche in 2nd position with Bellici in 3rd, ahead of Matteo Lavisi. So that pass we saw was for position.
Andrea Bellici looking the fastest as well at the moment in the speed trap, 260.8 as things stand. So if he can carry on this level of pace, he's got 6.1 seconds to find on the cars in front, of course being driven by Dieter Schweppes in 4th. Zelga still, though, leading the way. Solieri 3.3 in behind as Velasco sits 38 seconds in behind those front runners, though I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to try and close that gap as they sprint down the long straight in towards turn 1. As it looks like our timing screen is now updating again. Velasco is leading the race here at this stage. Dieter Schweppes in 2nd with Johannes Zelga. Andrea Bellici now up to 3rd. So there's a lot of movers and shakers towards the closing stages here. And Lavisi now up to 5th.
Well, I think this is what we were talking about under the safety car, with the pro driver doing the majority of the stint behind the safety car. Because what we have now here is the potential for this AM car to take the overall lead of the race. And they're both bronze drivers in the car at the moment. Velasco leading Dieter Schweppes in 2nd position. And in that Porsche, hounding the back of the Ferrari. And, you know, Schweppes alongside Martins did take the Cup 2 championship in the GT Winter Series earlier this year. So we know they're a very quick combination. And Svet's very well acquainted with Porsche machinery, having run in Sprint Challenge and the Sports Cup Swiss Championship as well. So once again, it's Ferrari v Porsche, and it's Mertel versus Rackar this time. And but like we were saying at the top of the show, if that Porsche wants to get ahead of the Ferrari, it's going to have to get inventive, because it can't blast past it down the straight like the Ferrari can because of the power deficit that the Porsche has. So, but talking about the AMP car taking the overall lead, we have to keep an eye on Andrea Bellici.
Yeah.
Because he, I'm sure, will be one of the fastest cars in this field now.
Well, you'd expect so, but based on his last time, 1:47.710, he is slower than Dieter Schweppes in second place. So who knows? I mean, it could be the turn of Dieter Schweppes to maybe upset the balance this time around. But still remains within a second, within 7/10. In fact, the update to the gap suggests that he still remains just beyond 6.5 tenths of a second on that last lap. However, he was faster than Ivan Velasco, as we now see them make their way through the first few corners. 31 thousandths faster from Dieter Schweppes here, but it's all about what he can do to execute the move to take the lead of the race here at this point, as he now makes the climb over the crest at turn 4. He's got a deep down dive as well, heading down towards Toro Vip. The Ferrari looked a little shaky heading out of turn 4 there, heading in towards turn 5. Not yet in with a chance, and slightly more defensive minded from Velasco here, who I think is very cautious of the fact that Dieter Schweppes is all over his tail, and one decent exit coming out of any of these bends. We know how effective the Porsche is. Certainly heading through the more technical side of Portimao, he'll have a great chance to perhaps execute this move. He's getting closer and closer all the time, Chris.
He certainly is, and Velasco is going to have his mirrors full of that day glow, bright yellow Rackar Porsche. Two cracking looking machines up at the front of the field for this one, isn't it? Velasco suddenly working a lot harder than he was probably expecting to, because I'm sure they were hoping that Luca Ludwig would just pull a massive lead in the early stages of this race. But of course, 2 safety car interruptions has not allowed that to happen. And so that's what's helped lead to the situation we have now, where the Porsche of Dieter Schweppes looking for a way through. Let's see how much ground he loses going through on the straight, because you see how close they are now, and he does have a toe as well, so much so it's rattling the front of the bodywork, but he still won't be able to get ahead. And we see Bellici closing in as well, but yeah, it's 2 kilometers an hour difference between the 2 cars, which is less than what we normally see, as we've got a bit of lap traffic to deal with. That's Alba Vasquez in the AM car, who seems to have had some sort of problem earlier on. Now, what's happening here? This is 52. Nathan Braun's, who has slipped a couple of positions here with this spin at turn 13. Nathan Braun's a driver making his GT racing debut, having raced in the VW Fun Cup for the last couple of years. And pretty much all of these circuits he's going to be racing on this year are very new to him. So Braun's just trying to get up to speed there. But we've rejoined that battle for the lead with 14.5 minutes to go in this race. And Ivan Velasco has got a job on his hands, keeping Dieter Schweppes at bay. But as long as he keeps getting a good exit out the last corner, I don't think there's much that Schweppes can do. He's just got to keep it on the black stuff, and you see he gets a good run here. You can see the performance advantage of the Porsche in the technical section of the racetrack, and the significantly lighter machine, and a car that can turn just that little bit more. But you see, once it gets out of here, it'll start to pull that advantage again, and then it's a little dab on the brakes for this final corner in the Ferrari. But you see, as long as he gets a good exit here, there's not really much that Dieter Schweppes can do. So this is what Rackar have got to deal with.
You know, I will say Rosso Corsa looking very strong. I mean, in the first sector alone, Bellici managed to pull out around 0.8 of a second between everybody else, and he's just nestled the fastest lap of the race with a 1:46.803.
Oh, that's Babini.
Oh, Babini, apologies.
Babini, yeah, even faster than all of these guys, and only 3.4 seconds back from
He's got a chance.
Bellici. But look at this from Dieter Schweppes. Now he might have a run This could be the lead going. And you see, again, even with that poor run, the Ferrari can just pull away from the Porsche down this back straight. And you see Schweppes has got to get inventive. He's going around the outside of the hairpin and can he straighten up the car enough to try and draw alongside? You see, even if that initial kick out of the corner is better, the Ferrari in the long run will still just pull clear. But Schweppes is really pulling all the tricks out of the hat now, isn't he, to try and get this done. And yeah, let's keep an eye on Bellici and Babini as well, because they may well join the party. Babini is the fastest guy on track at the moment, as he so often is aboard that number 78 machine. ZRS Motorsport for them last year, Tsunami RT for them this year. You see nose to tail once again through the middle sector, coming into the last couple of corners of the lap. And this time he's managed to draw an overlap coming through at turn 13. Now, has he been able to wrestle that lead away? No, not quite. He's just got to force the Ferrari even wider if he wants to try and make his way through. And now this is the part of the track where the Ferrari extends its advantage.
Yeah, brilliant display here from Dieter Schweppes, just trying to put the pressure on Ivan Velasco here and force him to make a mistake. That is where he needs to do it, in that middle to latter middle to the third sector. There in the distance is Andrea Bellici, who is profiting off the back of all this squabbling that's happening right at the front here. The gap now reduced to 4.1 seconds off the back of that, with further back Fabio Babini in fourth, also looking to close up too. Once again, they peel through turns 1, 2 and 3, and it's still Velasco who's out in front. But for how much longer can he hold on here, just making use of the straight line speed on the back of that Ferrari? And at the same time though, however, Dieter Schweppes making the most of the Porsche's benefits in terms of what it can do mid-corner as they head down in towards Tora Vip. Still once again waiting in the wings behind the Ferrari, but a great display certainly from Schweppes, who is applying everything he can to take down this Mertel Ferrari.
Bellici was 2 seconds faster than these two while they were squabbling. The gap down to 3.7 seconds between these guys, and Bellici in third position. So it is not over yet for the overall lead, not only between these two cars, but maybe Babini can join the party as well if they all start squabbling. So, and the beauty of it is it's 2 Porsches and 2 Ferraris as well from 4 completely different teams. This is great competition in the opening encounter of the GT Cup Europe.
And Velasco's speed coming out of the corners isn't going to help him against Bellici. That's the thing as well. So you've got to bear in mind that Bellici also carries Ferrari power and therefore is going to utilize it to his grand advantage. Still sits in third, but the last lap was majorly divided by 2 seconds. It could yet be divided again, because Bellici managed to pull together his very own personal best in the first sector with a 33.282, and I can see that advancing further as he makes his way through the latter stages of this race. 9 minutes and 55 to go. Once again, pulling out to 147.073, not as good as the lap prior, but still 5/10 faster of the realm to Dieter Schweppes, and also at the same time 4/10 faster than Ivan Velasco as they head through towards turn 1. Still Velasco out in front. Dieter Schweppes trying to find everything he can. Babini further back as well, trying to close, and he's now 7.7 off the top. So it's all happening here at Portimao around the roller coaster circuit. Once again, this time though, Velasco not being forced to go defensive. He doesn't have to worry about it too much, but Schweppes getting closer just goes to show how good the Porsche is in the corners. The Ferrari excelling in straight line speed.
It's just great to see, isn't it? I mean, you always get these 2 big difference in performance characteristics, and it makes for great racing. We've got the Porsche all over the back of the Ferrari. 9 minutes to go. And Bellici closing in on them again, another half a second last time around. The gap 3.2. Oh, a big swapper though for Velasco. That could have been a moment that cost him the lead of the race. And the Rakkar car did draw alongside, but no way through. Is he going to lunge on the inside into turn 13? No, we can't quite get late enough for the brakes, but Velasco's wide again. And Dieter Schweppes through into the lead of the race now, going through the final couple of corners. But remember, the Ferrari could power its way back through on the next straight if it really wants to. For now, it's Schweppes leading. A couple of costly errors there from Ivan Velasco. Can he utilize that Ferrari straight line speed and try and get the lead back again by the time they get into turn 1? 8 minutes left on the clock. Dieter Schweppes now leading for Rakkar. And you see the front bodywork still flapping around a little bit there, and no, the Ferrari can't do it. And I think with that, Dieter Schweppes might just start pulling away. And now if they stop squabbling, that's going to hurt Bellici and Babini's chances of closing in on them as well.
Yeah, well, Bellici's still closing nonetheless. He did a 1:46.878 on that last lap, which was convincingly faster, more than 2 seconds fast. Well, less than 2 seconds faster, I should say, probably more like 1 3/4 perhaps. Andrea Bellici now trying to close up to P2's. Ivan Velasco as they now peel through Tora Vip. Despite Dieter Schweppes still leading the way, we still have 7 minutes and 30 to go. Anything can happen in racing. Velasco getting caught out, heading through turns 12 and 13, before then it's being teed up, heading through Sagre. This was the moment, coming up at the top of the crest. Unfortunately for Velasco, he had no way of rounding the car back around to defend the place, and it was all on Dieter Schweppes, who utilised that tighter line. It all started around this point, banking on the mistake that Ivan Velasco had made, swapping to the inside. That provided the window of opportunity for the Porsche, with Velasco missing the apex coming through turn 13.
Yeah, it was just a bit of a swapper at the top of the hill at turn 11, wasn't it? And that's the Rakkar team celebrating. Rakkar very experienced with Porsches, but also running Aston Martins in the GT4 category, but they'll have done themselves some favours with Porsche by, well, if they manage to win this first race. And it's astonishing to see an AM car leading the overall race. Not going to knock out Bellici just yet, because he's now only 1.6 seconds behind Velasco and only 2.4 behind our race leader. I wonder if I have a note somewhere about the last time an AM car won the overall race. I'm going to have to dig that up from somewhere.
Well, Schweppes still out in front nonetheless. Still 8 tenths though, only separated. Bellici getting closer though, 1.6 now away from Velasco, as they now head down in towards the next left-hander at Tora Vip. Once again, Schweppes utilising that Porsche's cornering. Velasco's still there though, still denying defeat here at this point. 5 minutes and 40, and that'll take them through towards the final few laps here at Portimao. The Algarve never failing to impress, as we now watch as the Q1 track racing car of Lars Einen also makes its way out of those bends as well. Fabio Babini ahead of him, stepping into the car once again, and another impressive result on the table for Babini. The gap now is stretched out to 9.8 between he and Andrea Bellici in third. It's still stagnates between P3 and P2 at 1.6. But a great outing for Rosso Corsa, certainly based on where they started the race, just outside the top 10, and they've managed to rise higher than that this time around as well. Third place, and remember they're doing a full season campaign this time after missing out on the first few rounds last season, joining us at Paul Ricard.
That's a good calendar for this year, isn't it? Additional of Hockenheim, Spa, Paul Ricard, Barcelona and Monza. Back again. 6 rounds. And, if it's like this all the way through, then yeah, this will be a good season for the GT Cup. Great competition once again. Still only 8 tenths of a second separating Schweppes and Velasco. This is further down. Marco Solieri trying to keep Hendrik Jaska at bay in 11th position. Dario Bucarelli just behind them, as well as Alvaro Libera. Largely a Porsche battle here. Something happened to Matteo Lavusi on that last lap. He's just dropped 2 positions. Oh, we might even see it now. In fact, we will, because he's in the 67 silver Porsche. Leonov's gone by. And Van Dierendonk came right through as well. So not a mistake there, just 2 positions in very quick succession lost there. Oh, very nearly got run out wide there, although the Q1 car was just about to clear by the time they got to the exit of the corner, so no harm, no foul. But yeah, so that's Leonov now 6th, Van Direndonk 7th, Levusi in 8th position. We are back with the leaders. Andrea Bellucci now not quite within striking distance on Velasco, but he's very nearly there. I was just going to say, he's just done the fastest first sector, so he's on a pretty good lap at the moment. Was 1.6 behind Velasco at the start of this lap. Let's see what it is when they get over the timing line. The rear wing shaking in the turbulent air of that Mertel Ferrari ahead of him. It's now 7/10 of a second, so he caught him by 9/10 on that previous lap, and less than 3 minutes left on the clock. 2 seconds between Bellucci and Schweppes. I just wonder. Oh, he has a bit of a squirm braking for turn 3, does Bellucci. I mean, this would be a pretty spectacular win for Rosso Corsa if they do manage to pull this one off. But let's see, he's got to clear Velasco in pretty quick succession. Of course, this was a team that debuted midway through last year at Paul Ricard and won in their opening weekend. They've had a bit of bad luck in the races since then, but a fiercely competitive combination of Lorenzo Innocenti and Andrea Bellucci that, as we said, is a winning combination in the GT Cup from last year. Currently now 3rd overall, and they can see the lead right there, but time is not on his side at the moment.
Still 1 minute and 40 to go. He is starting to urge closer and closer to Velasco, and there's every chance that if they can utilize absolutely everything. We saw how aggressive he was coming out of their hairpin at turn 5, and that is certainly what Bellucci's capable of. He is just a driver that loves to race on the edge. Peeling out of Galp corner now, he'll have his chance, I'm sure, to maybe give Velasco something to think about as they make their way around this time here. Minute or so to go. We're in the dying stages of this race. P2 is still effectively on the table here for Bellucci, and I think he might challenge them as well, because of course you can see there Velasco slightly more defensive minded, looks to the inside, peels to the center of the track as they head down in towards turn 1. Bellucci breaking out of the aero as they now break in towards turn 1 this time around, flying around the outside, trying to find an efficient way of escalating his way through the apexes of these corners. Bellucci now sending it up the inside. They make contact. Oh no! Oh dearie me, Velasco has lost it. And Bellucci, despite moving up to 2nd, I get the feeling that won't be over. The stewards, I'm sure, will be taking a look at that one.
Luckily, Fabini and Lars Zenon are 16 seconds back, so Velasco can rejoin in 3rd position, and yeah, I get the sense that Bellucci will have a penalty coming his way. I mean, he had to do it to have any chance of getting after Schweppes, but this is looking pretty good now for Racar, isn't it? We're on the final lap now, but yeah, shame it ended like that.
Yeah, it's an almighty shame, but Dieter Schweppes won't mind that. Of course, it all started with Leandro Martins in the opening stint, but the Racar team, I'm sure, will be absolutely thrilled with this start to the season. Porsche excelling. The incident is, I can confirm, under investigation with race control, so they will be making their decisions post-race, I am sure. But now, venturing through the final couple of corners, I tell you what, Dieter Schweppes, what a performance. He was right on the back of Ivan Velasco through a large portion of the final stages of this race. He managed to unseat him, make his way to the front, and now coming through Galp corner, he'll take a massive gulp. Certainly a delight as he makes his way up towards the line. His team celebrating. He'll take the checkered flag. It's Dieter Schweppes, winner in race 1 of GT Cup Europe this weekend in the Algarve. They will be absolutely thrilled with that. Racar has a race car, and they're winning this one here at Portimao. Truly splendid to see. Andrea Bellucci coming across the line in 2nd. Ivan Velasco coming across the line in 3rd, though that will be settled in the stewards' room. Lars Zenon in 4th. Fabio Babini will come across the line in 5th. Evgeny Leonov coming through as well. In fact, I think Leonov's managed to get Babini heading through the final corners. Truly brilliant. A different complexion to the final corner from last season. Leonov now taking P5 out on track to boot as well, but Babini coming across the line in 6th.
Oh, and a last lap drama here for Indrik Jaska, who's put it in the gravel. That looks to be turn 11 at the top of the hill, and that ain't going nowhere, Sunshine. So he was in 12th position, and here's a replay of the contact. It was late. Oh, tough to call.
It is tough. I mean, Velasco was very defensive-minded. We saw similar actions when Dieter Schweppes, of course, was threatening. Went for a... Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, that's... Seeing the onboard there, that's suddenly a lot
Different
more...
view.
Suddenly a lot more conclusive, isn't it?
Yeah, I would say so. Well, obviously, we'll let the stewards make that decision, but certainly based on what we've seen, I get the feeling there might be a slight slam dunk situation, I think, at that point. But yeah, real shame, because obviously we would have seen them battling, I would expect, through the the dying moments of the final lap. Of course, take nothing away from Dieter Schweppes, a magnificent performance, and quite rightly deserved in many ways, because he was certainly the threatening, I would say, against Ivan Velasco. And I must say, the performance was stellar. The moves he was pulling off, it was a true racer's race, I think, at that point. So, I mean, congratulations can only go to him.
Yeah, and an all-bronze lineup that's won in an overall race. Pretty astonishing.
Certainly is. Let's take you through the results, folks. It's Leandro Martins and Dieter Schweppes who take victory here at Portimao in the very first race of the 2024 GT Cup Europe season. Innocenti and Bellici in second, Ludwig and Velasco in third, Przybylak and Zanen in fourth, Evgeny Leonov coming home in fifth, Scanaccio and Babini in sixth, Van Dier and Donkin Duma in seventh, Arifai and Luvisi finishing in P8, Lauren van der Velde and Braun's finishing in ninth, Johannes Zelger finishing in P10 to boot as well. Rounding off the rest, we got Glauco Solieri in 11th with Dario Barrichelli in 12th, Alvaro Libera in 13th with Stefano Bozzoni in 14th. We just saw Indrik Jaska as well losing out earlier on. Lauren van der Hengel and Vasquez finishing in 16th with Longin, Salins, Alex Ryman, Cabezas Frozio, Perrion, Tinsescu. We lost those drivers earlier on through the course of the race, much like Mark Speaker was as well, who we lost in the very early stages. And this is how it looks in terms of the championship. Of course, only one race into the first round, and it's Dieter Schweppes at the top of the Drivers' Championship with Leandro Martins also on 15 points. Lorenzo Innocenti and Andrea Bellici, they've got off to an ideal start. Of course, this is based on before stewards' rulings, but here at this point, they've got those points. But we'll have to wait and see where that leads. But Dieter Schweppes, great performance, and Leandro Martins, I'm sure his teammate will be absolutely delighted with that performance alike as well. A grand start to the season. They can look ahead to tomorrow as well. There is Andrea Bellici, who of course was involved in that collision through the initial sector. It was a closely fought battle.
I think he just went to go and have a word with Ivan there and essentially apologise. Fracar have enjoyed this in lap, haven't they? They've taken it nice and slow. This is probably going to be quite a big celebration.
Very good.
Safety car.
Yeah, safety car, safety car.
Yeah, see, it was all about the safety car, I think. But well, they seem to think so as well. So not bad.
But we were speaking about how much it makes a difference, obviously, in terms of bunching the field together. It favours the AMs for sure in those moments.
It depends on when you have your AM in the car, of course. But, the early safety cars definitely hindered those who had the pros in for the first stint.
It's definitely not over for Ludwig and Velasco. However, I think they'll be back tomorrow and probably looking for grander success. I mean, regardless, I mean, they could finish P2 based off what could happen at the very end. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, Bellici came across the line in second, but we'll have to wait and see what race control and the stewards decide to do. But nonetheless, great fight right to the bitter end, and it's a Porsche that comes out on top here at Portimao, and Ferrari finishing on track, second and third.
Another great battle between the two brands, of course, as well.
Well, let's take you through the top three as we know it. Ludwig and Velasco finishing in third on that step of the podium. Truly was a great defensive effort from Velasco, great initial stint from Ludwig from the very start. Second place, Andrea Bellici and Lorenzo Innocenti. They finishing in second place, and it was a huge rise from the bottom 10 into the top 10 into the podium places, but no one could stop Leandro Martins or Dieter Schweppes. They are your race winners, and they will be standing by with Alfredo Filipponi, I'm sure. But here at this point, all quiet in Parc Fermé, Chris. Oh, but yeah, we will be awaiting to hear from our race winners here at this point. Standing by with Alfredo.
Leandro Martins and Dieter Schweppes, first race in the GT Cup and already a win in the home track of the team of Rakkar. So Dieter, what a day.
Sure, we have here the advantage, it's our home track, so we did a lot of tasting also in the winter here, and we did also the winter series here, so we had a lot of kilometers or mileage here on this track. And also we have the big advantage of the 2 safety cars, yeah? And yeah, this was our luck in this race. Yeah.
But fighting in the end.
Yeah, I was fighting, but I saw then the car in front of me, the Ferrari, has a little bit problems with the tires, was also overheating. I said, okay, I have to wait a little bit and then to take my chance to take it really clean, the overtake, and yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was a good fight. Yeah.
And Leandro, no English, but Português?
Português, sim. Foi uma prova muito boa. De fato, nós tivemos 2 safety car e isso nos beneficiou muito e nos ajudou bastante, e com a gestão dos pneus e com a gestão de toda a prova também. Fizemos uma boa janela também de troca de pilotos e com isso conseguimos obter o êxito na prova.
Muito bem, parabéns.
Obrigado. Thank you.
So there we have it. So there we have it, folks. Let's take a look at the highlights from the very first race, the GT Cup Europe Championship. Heading through turn 1, it was all about Luca Ludwig. What a start around the outside in the Mertel Motorsport Ferrari, managing to unseat Al Rifai, who started on pole position with Bogdan Duma, also falling through the field. A major moment as well happened with a car, the Porsche, taking a skip over the initial grassy section to the inside of the circuit. Luckily enough, recovering, but unfortunately it wouldn't be for too much longer. Jorge Cabezas was trying to make places. He managed to launch himself up the inside of a few Porsches in the midst of a battle to get right within the top 10, and he continued to do this, making his way through, much like Lorenzo Innocenti, also in Ferrari machinery, taking full advantage of that straight line speed and also that fast acceleration power. There was, of course, the big pile-up heading through Tora Vip. Jorge Cabezas, unfortunately, collecting a number of cars that ended up retiring a few out of the race, but it left the battles to unfurl after the driver change period, where we witnessed, obviously, the likes of Dieter Schweppes jumping into the car with the likes of Andrea Bellici, Ivan Velasco also stepping out on track. And it teed up certainly a magnificent fight right to the very end. Dieter Schweppes pulling off a magnificent fight to get to the front. Unfortunately, though, Andrea Bellici would come together with Ivan Velasco. It wouldn't trouble Schweppes, who would take the checkered flag, and Rakkar, a home race victory here at Portimao.
Very good.
Luck with the safety car.
Yeah, safety car, safety car.
Safety car was our luck.
And it brings us now to the podium celebrations. A great start here to the weekend for the Rakkar team. Dieter Schweppes as well alike. And he'll be heading to the podium with Leandro Martins. They'll look ahead to tomorrow, I'm sure. They won't want to rest on their laurels. It's a question about points, isn't it? Whilst, of course, they have taken the overall championship lead here, Chris, their fight is the AM fight.
Oh, absolutely. Odds of this happening again are pretty slim, and it was not a friendly welcome for Andrea and Fernando from Luca outside of the podium, but it will be the Portuguese national anthem for the home team of Rakkar.
Oh dear.
That's so good.
Yeah.
No, that's
So there we have it. The Portuguese national anthem is sounded around the circuit of Portimao. A home win for Raka in probably their most important weekend of the season as well, if you take it on that face value. And stellar for an AM team to take the overall victory. But the trophy's now being awarded to Ivan Velasco and Luka Ludwig for coming home in third place. Mertel still with a car on the podium despite losing out very early on a couple of cars in those initial incidents. And then it's Andrea Bellici as well as Lorenzo Innocenti who will lift aloft the second place trophy. Last but certainly not least, Team Raka, Dieter Schweppes and his teammate, Leandro Martins, will celebrate taking victory here at the Algarve. And not a lot more this season would taste quite as sweet as this, Chris.
No, fantastic stuff from them, isn't it? And of course, they haven't got to go anywhere for the next podium because it's the AM podium as well. So
we can sit
tight
tight
there for that as well, yeah.
And the winning team trophy as well being presented to the representative from Raka. Fantastic. And they'll also get a chance to spray the champagne, though I'd imagine they'll want to try and keep those dry.
It's usually the way, isn't it?
Yeah, ready for tomorrow.
So he's getting out of there already.
Well, I know the Team Motor Park have a washing machine stationed outside their track. At least they used to anyway. But standing by for the photo nonetheless, and magnificent scenes here at Portimao. We look forward to race 2 tomorrow, of course, and there'll be another opportunity for the Mertel team. But Rosso Corsa is sticking around on the podium. They're going to continue and no doubt try and give our winners a good soaking here, Chris, and they certainly do.
Yeah. Fernando was up for it as well.
He loves this championship.
Certainly does. Good respect between the two there. That'll be the AM podium up next, which we neglected a little bit as a result of the overall fight happening up at the front of the field.
There is a Cinderella story. I mean, Bogdan Duma does appear on the podium, so brilliant for him.
Not only that, so obviously Dieter Schweppes and Leandro Martins have the win there, but yeah, the 57 of Nico van Dierendonk and Bogdan Duma in second position in class, 7th overall. So after the Sprint Challenge Benelux Championship for Bogdan Duma, starts his GT Cup career with a class podium, and then third is another of the Q1 cars, the 52, which is Laurent van der Velde, reigning AM champion, and Nathan Bronze on his GT racing debut, having come from the VW Fun Cup. So.
And they started from the back of the grid as well, which was
they did. They were last.
Fantastic performance from
really great
from those guys. You know, Nathan Bronze, no doubt, is going to be absolutely thrilled with that. And Van der Velde coming off the back of winning the title in AM class last season. Obviously, we'll be hoping for better days, better qualifying sessions, but nonetheless, coming here and taking P3 in class is no mean feat. Still though, Martins and Schweppes will be lifting the trophies here this time around. Van Dierendonk and Duma coming across from rallying, looking well and truly at home in this series as well, and looking forward to seeing how his career progresses now that he's racing in Porsche competition. Trophies now being presented to Van Dierendonk and Bogdan Duma. And they'll be back tomorrow as well, no doubt. Duma will bring his talents to the forefront here at Portimao for race 2 that's coming up tomorrow. But it's a second batch of trophies being presented by the representative from Michelin Tyres, and celebrating our Raka once again. Dual winners, winners overall, winners in AM. Fantastic performance. And you can join us once again tomorrow, folks. We'll be back with qualifying in the morning and racing action once again on Sunday. Join us again tomorrow for GT Cup Europe. Thank you.